Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the gritty reality of a notoriously awkward first-century dinner party, all to reveal the true meaning behind an ancient ritual. We are going to look way past the pristine Sunday school imagery and look directly at the cultural norms, the actual dirt, and the intense social dynamics of the ancient Middle East. By the time we're done here, a story you probably thought you knew is going to look entirely different. Okay, let's just jump right in and set the scene. We're at the home of a Pharisee named Simon. He's throwing a banquet, and Jesus is the invited guest. But suddenly, an uninvited woman, someone known in the town as a sinner, completely crashes the party. She approaches Jesus, weeps so intensely that her tears are literally wetting his feet, and then does something absolutely shocking. She wipes his feet with her hair. To understand why the entire room would have collectively gasped at this, we really need to decode the specific cultural taboos she was breaking.
Let us begin this journey together. For the next 100 days, we shall spread the light of these teachings to every village and every home. Go now and share the good news.
Now, you might be thinking the party crashing was the big issue. Actually, in that specific social setting, it was relatively common for uninvited locals to kind of linger around the edges of a banquet just to listen in on important teachers. The real scandal? It was her hair. In first-century Palestine, a woman letting down her hair in public, especially in a room full of men, was considered deeply, deeply shameful. We're talking about a breach of societal norms so severe that it was literally considered legal grounds for divorce. Yet, here she is, openly weeping, her hair unbound, wiping the dirt off a guest's feet.
Section 1. The gritty reality of travel, and exactly why feet needed washing in the first place.
To get why feet were such a big deal, you have to remember that the ancient Middle East was an incredibly hostile environment for travelers. People were constantly battling rough terrain, bone-dry winds, and sudden desert storms. And it's not like they were wearing closed-toe hiking boots, right? Their primary footwear was the open sandal. So, unless you somehow enjoyed cultivating a thick layer of desert crust on your skin, by the time you arrived anywhere, your feet were absolutely covered in dirt, sweat, and grime. And here is where practical hygiene crashes straight into social dynamics. As scholar Andreas J. Kustenberger points out, people back then didn't sit upright on separate chairs at a high table like we do. They reclined on the floor. They rested on their sides, leaning back really close to one another. So imagine that setup for a second. If you bring unwashed, filthy, road-weary feet to a dinner table where everyone is essentially lying on the floor, well, it's a literal and cultural recipe for disaster. Your dirty feet would be right up in someone else's personal space, or worse, right next to their food. Section 2. Rules of Ancient Hospitality and the Three-Step Currency of Respect. Because of this massive hygiene issue, when a guest arrived at a home, the host was expected to perform 3 absolute essential acts of welcome. Number 1. Greet them with an affectionate, respectful kiss. Number 2, provide water for the guest's feet, a physical washing usually delegated to the absolute lowest servant of the household. And number 3, anoint the guest's head with oil, which acted as a sign of blessing, honor, and prosperity. You have to understand, these acts were not just polite formalities. They were the baseline of human decency in that culture. Skipping these steps wasn't just a casual oversight, like forgetting to take someone's coat. In a society so completely driven by honor and shame, neglecting these rituals communicated a deliberate insult. It was a host's way of showing utter indifference, dismissal, and a complete lack of honor toward their invited guest. It was a massive slap in the face. Section 3. The Showdown, a radical act of worship. So back to the dinner party. Jesus, knowing exactly what is happening culturally, turns to his host, Simon, and he directly compares Simon's insulting, passive-aggressive behavior with a completely scandalous, active devotion of this uninvited outcast. It is a stark, undeniable contrast. Simon, the highly respected religious leader, withheld the absolute most basic common courtesies. No water, no kiss, no oil. But the woman, an outcast, lavishly provided everything Simon lacked. She used her own tears instead of water, her own hair instead of a towel, endless kisses to his feet instead of a standard greeting, and instead of common oil, she actually broke open an alabaster jar and poured out incredibly expensive perfume. She stepped completely beyond her comfort zone and totally disregarded societal boundaries just to offer this sacrificial act of love. To really drive this point home to Simon, Jesus tells a quick parable about 2 debtors. One owed a moneylender 50 denarii, and the other owed 500. Now, a denarius was the standard daily wage for a laborer back then. So to put that into perspective, that larger debt represents about 500 days of grueling manual labor. That's nearly a year and a half of wages. Neither could pay it back, so the moneylender just completely forgives both debts. Jesus then looks at Simon and asks, which of them will love the moneylender more? Simon correctly answers that the one with the bigger debt forgiven would love more. And that's when Jesus drops the mic. He links the woman's scandalous actions directly to her immense gratitude, her massive display of love, defying all those social norms, risking her reputation by letting her hair down, giving away highly expensive perfume. That was the direct result of understanding the sheer magnitude of her forgiveness. Genuine worship and gratitude, it turns out, often look completely scandalous to people who are just obsessed with keeping up appearances.
Section 4. The legacy of foot washing, from ancient sands to royal traditions.
The timeline of this practice is actually incredible. Way back in the Old Testament, around 1900 BC, you see patriarchs like Abraham and Lot offering foot washing as top-tier hospitality. Then, in the 1st century, Jesus completely subverts the dynamic. At the Last Supper, he literally takes on the role of the lowest household servant and washes his own disciples' feet, proving that true leadership isn't about lording over people, it's about serving them. Fast forward to the Middle Ages, and the whole idea spreads to Europe, where British monarchs are literally washing the feet of the poor to honor that exact commitment to faith and humanity. Then, the tradition evolved again. In 1689, King William and Queen Mary decided to shift the royal practice away from actual physical foot washing. Instead, they began distributing specially minted coins, known as Maundy money. And get this, the British monarchy still observes this tradition every single year on the Thursday before Good Friday. The monarch hands out these high-value coins, with a man and woman chosen to represent each year of the monarch's life, as a symbolic, modern continuation of that ancient act of service. It is genuinely amazing how history works, isn't it? So I want to leave you with this final thought. If the simple, gritty, everyday chore of washing dusty feet could transform over millennia into a global symbol of service, radical humility, and extravagant love, what everyday customs of ours will tell the true story of our society thousands of years from now? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning and always keep looking beneath the surface.
If you believe in Jesus, then subscribe this channel.